Since the beginning of history, there has always been human trafficking. It has taken time and years of raising awareness, but people have come to realize that this oppression cannot last, and they have stood up to protect the victims.
That ray of light has given hope to people who stand in the dark. Imagine yourself, a human being with basic rights and freedom, turned into and treated as dolls. The kind of dolls you play with, control and manipulate, ripped apart from an inalienable right for independence, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And your own country is guilty of handing you over by not reaching out a hand to help.
Just imagine that. This is no time for us to sit still, watching from afar and averting our eyes from people who are deprived of their freedom and imprisoned in desolate valleys of sorrow and pain.
It is time for us to rise and finally take action, open our minds and hearts to help and save people who are hopeless and give them hope.
Now it's time to lift these people from the quicksand of human trafficking to the solid ground of freedom, emancipation, and safety.
These days of pain and hardship for these women will not pass quietly until the blossoms of invigorating freedom.
2017 is not the end of the road, but the beginning of this journey. To those of you who thought this was a fleeting desire, you are mistaken. We will not rest nor stand silently whilst people around us are being held captive. But there is something that we must say to you.
The people who are standing here today for the sake of others. In the process of gaining the rightful place for these women, we must rise above the people who stand on the wrong side of justice. We must grant these women the satisfaction of breaking those chains that hold them down.
The struggles that these women face must be highly prioritized. We must forever remain in our creative mind and never withdraw from our belief. Again and again, we must climb above the peak of the struggle and reach our goals. For many of our brothers and sisters, as evidenced by their presence today, are walking with us side by side to overcome the obstacles in front of us.
And as we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall march ahead. We cannot turn back. There are those who are asking,
when will you be satisfied?
And our answer is, and will continue to be, we can never be satisfied. We can never be satisfied as long as a woman's bodies are weighted down with endless rusty shackles. And just like their bodies are restless, so are their souls.
We can never be satisfied as long as women are transferred from one cage to another.
We can never be satisfied as long as they cannot exercise their rights as they deserve.
No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice swims like a fish against the flow,
and righteousness like a bird against the wind.
The fact is that each year approximately 3,000 women between the ages of 18 to 35 are sold and traded in Israel. 90% of these women are smuggled into Israel through the Egyptian border and suffer many abuses and violence along the way.
The price for a woman ranges between
$4,000 to $10,000,
depending on their age and attractiveness.
35% of the women who were interrogated stated that they were forced to work even when menstruating. 40%
were caged.
33% were victims of hard violence, and 8%
were starved as punishment or even just to make them thinner so they could look prettier.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Break the brick wall.
Climb out of the dark pits.
Go beyond the barriers.
Slide between the prison bars and escape the cages that keep you captive.
Knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed. Do not wallow in the valley of despair.
We say to you today
that regardless of the difficulties and hardship of the moment,
we still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in our souls.
We have a dream that one day our nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its beliefs. Martin Luther King once said, "The time is always right to do the right thing."
We have a dream that one day on the green hills of happiness, former enslaved women will sit peacefully around the table of love and new beginnings. We have a dream
that one day even the former slave owners, people who are sweltering with the heat of injustice and wrongdoing, will come to realize the meaning of humanity.
We have a dream that our children who have yet to come into this world will live in a safe, caring environment. We have a dream today. We have a dream
that one day our corrupt government, whose lips are presently dripping with lies and false promises, will be transformed into a supporting, involved environment.
We have a dream. We have a dream that one day every scream will fade,
every whisper will shout,
the sharp places will turn blunt,
and the soft ones will sharpen.
This is our hope.
With this faith, we will be able to rebuild the mountain of despair with new bricks of hope.
With this faith, we will be able to transform the jarring screams of anguish into the beautiful harmonic sounds of comradeship. With this faith, we will be able to stand up together,
Fight together,
unite together,
to overcome any obstacles that are in our way together.
knowing that one day everyone will be safe.
This will be the day when all of us will be able to sing with new meaning. Tonight, we shall go from slavery to freedom.
Arik Einstein.